Okay, welcome back. So today we're going to have a look at random numbers and how we can generate them and how we can use them in just a couple of simple programs. Now, in programming, a random number isn't actually random. It's a number between a low and a high value that you give your program. Done in various different ways, depending on if we're using the blocks or if we're typing in Python. But in terms of the microbit, when we need it, we go to the math menu and we've got lots of options to do with numbers. The one we want is pick random, and you'll notice 0 and 10. So currently, this block, if we were to use it how it is, will generate a number or a value between 0 and 10. Nothing else. Couldn't be lower, couldn't be higher. That's our range of numbers we can pick. So we're going to use this. We're going to drag it into the workspace, and we're going to have a number generated every time we click the A button. So I'm going to go to Input. On A button pressed, we've got that. Basic, show number, put that in there, and this random number block now can go inside there. You can see it's all lit up now, and if I was to click A, we get a number. So 6 is between there, 1, and it's going to go through and it's going to generate those numbers. And if I needed to change that, if I was going to make a really basic digital dice, so 6-sided dice, numbers between 1 and 6, and there we go. And realistically, this is how a dice actually works. When you roll the dice, it gives you a random number, but it's only a random number between 1 and 6. So that's how we get the block. That's how we set it. Have a go at that. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back and look at how we can use this. And we're going to use this to make a game of rock, paper, scissors based on a number that's generated. Let's make our game then. We're back. We've got our blank workspace here. I've taken the random number out and we're going to rock, paper, scissors. And all of this is going to happen when we shake the microbit. So when we shake it, the whole program's going to run and we'll get one of our three choices. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a variable, and that's going to hold our random number. So variables, click random number, click variable name, choice. Okay. Set choice 2. And now math, pick random. And we've got rock, paper, scissors. We've got 3 choices. So 1 to 3. There we go. And first thing to do is, as we do with programming, we're going to check to see this works. So we're going to quickly put basic in, show number. From variables, I'm going to select choice, put that in there. And now when I click shake, I get a number coming up. So we click it a few times. You can see we've had all 3 numbers come up, so we know that works. So now we're going to move on to the next section of this. Next stage then is to put in our question. So we can use an if-else block for this, so we can get it to look at what this number is and make a choice based on it for what gets displayed on the screen. So we get a logic, we get the if-else block, we drag that out, put that there. I'm going to leave show number in here for the choice. I'm going to leave it in for now. So once we've built this and we're testing it, we can see what number's been generated and check to see if it's actually showing the right option. Before we do anything else with this, we need 3 options. We need if, else if, and else. So we click on the plus at the bottom. That gives us the extra section where we can put our comparison in. So we go to logic. We want a comparison. And what we want is an equals 1. Either of these top 2 would work because you can change the operator in the middle. Just not the bottom one because that's looking at text. So we'll take this top one because it's already got equals in. We'll drag it in there. And what we're going to do is we get another one and we'll put it in here as well. The next stage then, we need to look at the variable because it's if choice equals something. So variable, get choice or whatever you chose to name yours. It goes in there and again there. And then we've got to think about the numbers. So if it's 1, it'll do this. If it's 2, it will do this. And if it's not 1 or 2, it has to be 3, which means it's going to do this last one here. So we don't need 3 conditions in. We just need 2 because the third one takes care of itself. So if it's 1, we're going to have paper. And for the sake of testing here, I'm just going to use show string. And I'm actually going to bring that in. I'm going to duplicate it. So I've got 3 of them. And I'm going to fill in the spaces here. And I'm not actually going to type rock, paper, scissors. I'm just going to put R, P, and S in here just for speed when we're testing it. So we're not having things scroll across the screen. So now, check it. And you see it worked there just where I put it on. So a 1 should be an R. The 1, Goes R for rock. Got 1 again. 1 again. 3 this time. So that was scissors. So we just need a 2. There we go. Paper. So there it works. And as it shows there, I gave me the same number a few times in a row. That happens when you're picking a random number. And obviously, the smaller the range, the more likely you are to get the same number. So that's a simple rock, paper, scissors game. And in this case, you can have that on 2 microbits, shake them, and see who gets what. What we're going to do is, though, we're going to come back shortly, and we'll look at how we can use random numbers to actually light up random pixels or LEDs on the screen of our microbit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use that ability to generate a random number, and we're going to have 2 variables, and we're going to use those to light up random pixels on the front of the microbit. Now we know there's 25 LEDs on the front of the microbit. They're arranged in a matrix, and we can essentially apply coordinates to them to light up ones across X going along and Y going up and down. So the first thing we're going to need is 2 variables. So I've got choice already here, and to make this nice and simple, I'm going to make one and call it X, and I'm going to make another one and call it Y. That makes it easy for me to identify them later on. And we're going to have this happen, to begin with, just when we press the button again. So we start with the A button in there, and I need 2 set variable blocks. So I can bring one out, right click, duplicate it, set Y, change it to X. So now we've got X and Y, and we've got to set those to a random number, or to be a random number. So we've got to maths, pick random, and again we'll need 2 of these, so we can duplicate them before we put them in. These go into the oval block, so we're setting these variables to a random number between, say, 0, which is the first one, and 4, which is the one on the far end. And you'll notice, if I just enlarge this, if you hold the mouse over the LEDs, you'll see the coordinates for them. So top left is 0, 0, bottom right is 4, 4, and all of the other ones in between have different values. So now we need to be able to turn on and off the LEDs on the front of the microbit. So we go to the LED menu. We've got quite a few different options here. We can set their brightness and various other things. And what we want is we're just going to plot and unplot them. Plot essentially is going to turn it on. Unplot is going to turn it off. So we'll need those. So we've got plot. We'll also want unplot as well. But if we were to leave this how this is now, they would turn off as soon as they've turned on, so we wouldn't actually notice anything. So between plot and unplot, we're going to put a pause block. And so we can see what's going on, it's not moving too quickly, we're going to set this to 1 second. Now we need to add the variables into plot and unplot. So we're going to variables, X with X, and Y with Y. You could call them vertical and horizontal if you wanted, that's up to you. The point is to make sure the correct ones go in the right place. So now when we run the program, our X and Y variable are set to a number between 0 and 4, so we've got that range of 5 across or up and down. And then it tells it to turn on, one at a certain point, it waits, and then it turns it off. So if I press A, that one on, and every time I press it, thereabouts, we're going to get a different one. Now, we could have this then repeat. We could put it in forever, so it goes around. Or if you wanted to a bit differently, we could go to loops. I can pull out a well do. I'm going to change that to true. Put all of my code inside that block, and then put it back so it turns there. And then I'm going to reduce the pause. I'm going to set it to 200 milliseconds. And when I press A, the screen on here is just going to flicker. So if I did this on an actual microbit, my screen would be flashing as well. But we're doing that, we're using that random numbers there. So 2 programs showing you how you can use random numbers. One for a little bit of fun. The first one, rock, paper, scissors, for a game. But then in any program, if you need a number between a certain range and you need it to be generated, this is how you do it. Use that pick random block from the math menu. Generally speaking, you will set it into a variable so you can store its value, and then you will use that in your programs.